Today at queenbeing.com, we're going to discuss 22 signs that you're co-parenting with a narcissist. Hi, my name is Angela Atkinson. I'm a certified life coach, an author, and a survivor of narcissistic abuse in relationships. I am also the creator of queenbeing.com, where you can get free resources for survivors of narcissistic abuse in relationships. You can get my books at booksangiewrote.com, or you can visit narcissismsupportcoach.com for personalized narcissistic abuse and recovery coaching. I've also got a free offer there right now for a free 5-day fear-busting e-course that I highly recommend for narcissistic abuse survivors. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So if you've ever been in a relationship with a toxic narcissist, you know how painful and traumatic it can be for an adult. Imagine how you would feel if you were a child and if it were all that you knew. You are probably already aware that narcissistic parents refuse to respect or even acknowledge their children's desires. If you're co-parenting with a narcissist, for example, you may watch him or her promise that your kid's the whole world, for example, but in order to get what he or she wants from them is really the only reason that they're promising such things, and then to refuse to honor the promises. He may even directly blame the kids for his refusal, such as inventing a reason to punish them. Now, the kids of a narcissist are often forced to miss out on events like birthday parties, little league games, or other activities that are important to them in order to accommodate the narcissistic parents' wishes. And before long, if you're co-parenting with a narcissist, your children will really quickly come to learn that what they want just isn't important. So, what do you deal with as a kid when your mom or your dad is a narcissist? Well, let's discuss that. The child of a narcissist is raised in that little spot that's somewhere between a rock and a hard place. She's constantly walking on eggshells in a futile effort to prove or prevent the narcissist's explosive rage. For that child of a narcissist, the intense rage, alternating with the guilt and occasional public display of affection, are combined with trying to do whatever the narcissist parent wishes to appease him. Unfortunately, it never works that way, and the child ultimately always fails to meet his standards of perfection. This leads to the child being constantly told that she's a complete failure. She grows up without the ability to make her own choices, and she may become socially awkward, having trouble with setting boundaries. Worse, the child of a narcissist will often fail to make it on her own. She will fall to successive abusers, as she has no notion of normal behavior and of what to expect from relationships. She will believe that her feelings of being taken advantage of are her own fault. She will think she's oversensitive. That's what the narcissist tells her whenever she has a legitimate concern. She also feels that she somehow deserves the abuse and has no option but to tolerate it, because, as far as she knows, everyone else would do the same thing to her. Now, no good parent wants her child to experience these things, right? So how can you be sure if you're co-parenting with a narcissist? Well, I suggest that you check out these signs and see if you might recognize someone that you know or love here, okay? Be honest with yourself. Here are 22 signs of a narcissistic parent. First, they're extremely selfish and self-centered. They are capable of permanently harming their own children to get what they want. When the children of a narcissist fail to live up to his expectations, he severely punishes them. Narcissists are incapable of empathy, so they'll rain down toxic criticism and disapproval on their children, even when the kids are good. That's partially because they have their own feelings and personalities, and narcissists don't like that, so that makes the kids not good enough. The narcissist wants total control over his or her family. He expects the children to become copies of himself, which he considers to be, of course, the measure of perfection. The narcissist wants his kids, to be perfect, so they often grow up with severe guilt and incredibly low self-esteem. He may even cause them to become narcissists themselves. It's terrible. The narcissist will maintain two separate identities, one to the outside world, which even includes extended family most of the time, and another one to those who live within the circle of influence, aka the home. Now, when the child is a narcissist, when the child is being parented by a narcissist, it's very confusing. And here's one of the reasons right now: because it appears to outsiders that he's a great guy or she's a great girl, a great listener, generous with his or her time and money, charming, just really great to be around. But within the people inside the home, the narcissist parent will appear to be dismissive, ignoring, or even directly cruel. And that can definitely mess with a kid's head. Speaking of which, they also play a lot of mind games. A narcissist parent seems to require attention and dislikes it when anyone else is taking the attentions away from them and or their desires. Here's a pretty common example. A lot of times when a baby's born, one parent will become jealous of the other's affections and attention, and that often is a little bit of a normal response at first, but most parents will instinctively understand that the child comes first. Narcissists will not understand that, and they will be offended that anyone tries to put their child before themselves. Yeah. Covert narcissists will seek attention with very subtle moves, often just glaring at a target across the room or kicking them under the table to get them to stop hogging the spotlight. Overt narcissists will be more obvious with their attention-seeking behaviors, sometimes even openly interrupting or causing a dramatic scene when something isn't all about them. It's incredibly frustrating, to say the least. A narcissist will take the behaviors and misbehaviors of his children or her children as personal compliments as well as attacks on his or herself. And that's because, as far as a narcissist is concerned, her children are simple extensions of herself. The narcissist will often be overdramatic and is heard saying things like, "I can't believe you would do this to me," when she's disciplining her children for what most people would consider normal childhood mistakes. See, the narcissist will see his children, as well as everyone else in his life, as people who do not have their own personalities, people who do not have real needs and real feelings. Rather, they see them as objects that exist only to serve their own purposes. That is incredibly dehumanizing for the victims of the narcissist. The narcissist will gaslight his children and his spouse or the co-parent of the children, intentionally undermining their senses of self-esteem and invading their boundaries. This may manifest as subtle criticism initially, or it may be more direct. Here's an example of a subtle criticism. Say if you're having trouble with gaining weight, and your narcissist parent says to you, "Are you really eating again?" Or maybe you're not having trouble with gaining weight, but the narcissist parent is putting a bug in your head that you have a weight problem. That can actually manifest itself into a weight problem. Now imagine if you're a little child and this is all that you know. You could become entirely the person that your narcissist parent wants you to be. You really don't even know any better. And here's another example. A narcissist mother whose daughter made the cheerleading squad might try to live virtually through her daughter, especially if she herself once wanted to be a cheerleader but never made the squad. Just an example, right? So it she might do this by being incredibly controlling and overbearing. She may require her daughter to practice excessively and build discipline into her cheerleading fails. So if the daughter, falls down at the cheerleading competition off the top of the pyramid, rather than being concerned about her daughter's health and well-being, the mother may be angry that her daughter messed up the cheerleading competition. You see what I'm saying? Now, another way that she might do this is she might go the other direction and cast doubt on her daughter. Like, "Oh, you only made the team because they felt sorry for you." Or she might predict failure on the endeavor, but pretending like it's a concern, right? So she might say something like, "Are you sure you want to do this, honey? What if you fall and break your neck?" Or, something of that nature. A narcissist will believe that her spouse and children do not deserve to choose their own boundaries, and she will actively overstep them and challenge them. Do you understand? It's no good. The narcissist will behave as though children and spouses are possessions, again, which don't have valid thoughts and opinions. Possessions which don't have valid thoughts and opinions. I'm serious. That's what a narcissist thinks of the people who he claims to love. It's no good. In fact, if you actually confront the narcissist about these things, he will behave indignantly and deny it. If you ask him to discuss the behaviors or, work on the behaviors, it will be a fight because he will say, "You always got a problem with me, la la la." It's no good. All right. For example, if your narcissist mother knows that you love to cook, she might pretend that she doesn't. when you mention something about it. But if you confront her and remind her how you won that cooking contest you entered last year, well, she's instantly going to tell you that, hey, I'm always telling people what a great cook you are. I know you're into cooking. It's a gaslighting thing. They don't want to acknowledge your accomplishments unless it benefits them to do so, basically. Yeah. So if, a narcissist is going to tell anybody about the accomplishments that you've made as her child, she's only going to do that to make herself look good. Like, oh, I'm such a great parent. Look what my kid did. And of course, to get attention. And the same thing goes for the negative things. The narcissist will envy the good things that others have, but she won't admit to wanting those things and won't do anything to try to get them. But if anyone else does something to improve their circumstances, she might call them selfish and entitled. So, for example, if the narcissist mother of an adult learned that her daughter bought her first brand new car, she'd probably shake her head and murmur something about how it's, new car ownership is dangerous and how much insurance must be costing by now, and wondering how could she even afford to buy that car out loud to everyone around her, of course. Instead of simply saying, wow, good job, honey, on buying your new car, congratulations, or something else that is in any way appropriate. A narcissist never likes people for real. Even though she might have a huge social circle, there are very few people that she will speak well of, and the people that she does seem to like are often those admirers or the people who just don't ask very much of her. A narcissist is vain, but maybe not in the way that you'd expect. For example, while she may not be directly fashionable, openly flashy, or even stylish, a narcissist mother is going to be very concerned about what people think. So if she had to choose between keeping up appearances or protecting her children, she would definitely go with keeping up appearances. She or he. This could be a man or a woman. All right. And a narcissist can't deal with other people's strong emotions. She may instantly bristle when someone, even her child, comes to her with an emotional problem or any strong emotion at all. The narcissist will behave as though the emotions of others are a burden and may even try to make them all about her and or steal the spotlight of any issue, whether it's her issue or not. So, for example, if a child is getting a risky surgery, a narcissist mother might focus more on how it's affecting her rather than the child. And she'll suck up as much attention as pity and as possible in the process. She'll make it all about how upsetting it is to her rather than the fact that her child's life is at risk. And of course, she will still appear to be absolutely the perfect parent with an appropriate amount of concern to all of the outsiders in her life. A narcissist parent expects people to wait on him or her and expects to not to need to reciprocate. So she might make statements like, I work for a living after all. Or a narcissist father might say something like, hey, it must be nice to sit around here and do nothing while I work my ass off for you people. You know what I'm saying? They expect gratitude for all that they do, and they are not willing to give it to anyone for the things that they do for them. So let me ask you a question. Are you co-parenting with a narcissist? What are your best tips to cope? What has worked? What hasn't worked? Share your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences in the comments below, and let's discuss it. That's all I have for today. Again, my name's Angie Atkinson. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm going to see you next time. You can find my work at queenbeing.com, as well as several resources, tools, and free articles for survivors and victims of narcissistic abuse. You will also find a free 5-day fear-busting course to help you start taking back your life at narcissismsupportcoach.com. And you can get my books at booksangierwrote.com. Until next time, I'll see you then.